Hey, what's up, guys? It's that guy with a pencil with Fiction Fridays. Now, what is Fiction Fridays? That's a fantastic question. Fiction Fridays is basically me just talking about manga or whatever weekly thing that I discovered about fiction that I feel like talking about with you guys. So, yeah, and here's what the gimmick of the channel is supposed to be, you guys seeing me being that guy with a pencil, but took a while, but now we're here. We have a setup, so we're going to work with this. So, we're going to be talking about Dr. Stone, Demon Slayer, and Seven Deadly Sins. I would go over Boku no Hero. I'll think about it as I record the video. So we'll see. Yeah, there's no script for this, so this is just me going off. So let's see. Let's start with honestly. Do I say yeah? I have to say Doctor Stone is honestly my favorite out of all these series because I don't know. I really like Doctor Stone for how extremely creative that it is. That it's just a series about science and like its purest form. And this latest chapter is really ramping things up for the current arc. Where by the way, spoilers for all three of these series. I'm not talking about the anime. I'm talking specifically about the manga. So if you don't want to get spoiled, leave now. Leave right now. Okay, you got spoil. You got your spoiler warning. You got it. All right, good, good. Gotta go. Gotta go. Bye. Um. So yeah, now that Kohaku and Ginro are petrified, and now that the purification weapon has been seen and discovered, we're in the end game of this arc because now we know a whole lot that we didn't know at the beginning of the arc, like who is the great leader, who's really in control of the island, what is the petrification weapon, how does it work, yada yada yada. And the beginning of this chapter actually opens up. I don't know the chapter number off the top of my head. I think it's like 117, 118. The beginning of this chapter opens up with the revival of a few more people and a few more important people to the revival process, like Yura Zahara. She's revived, so they can end up working on putting people back together, which is very, very important considering the people they need. So they revive Archer guy. I'm sorry, I don't know his name. He's a really cool character. I just don't know his name off the top of my head. They revive him for his skill with 3D analysis on maps, and they also had to revive Yu Zahara. And honestly, this manga is just very funny. That's one of the main reasons I like it. It's extremely comedic for the kind of show that it is, for the kind of shonen. It's also just unique. It's a really unique shonen. That's what honestly gets me about it. Like when I first picked it up, I didn't think I would really enjoy it until like two chapters in when it hit me like, oh no, this is definitely my kind of show. Definitely my kind of reading. And the main thing that gets me about it is what they have here because now that they have the oh, they also revive Chrome. They revived Chrome. I don't know why I forgot that. They revived Chrome, and now what they have here is the five generals of the Kingdom of Science. They have Chrome. They have Gen. They have Radar Guy. They have Ship Captain Guy. Yeah, I know I'm terrible. I don't remember their names off the top of my head. And they have Senku. So they have everyone they really need to plan an assault against this kingdom to get the petrification weapon. And now they have the information. So a lot of this chapter is them just putting puzzle pieces together, figuring out, okay, so obviously the petrification weapon, there's only one of them. Because if there wasn't one of them, if there were more of them, then Ginro would have been petrified immediately rather than someone else having to throw it out for the supposed ally of the Great Leader. Also, the Great Leader obviously the Great Leader being petrified obviously is a little known fact because if it wasn't, and people thought the Great Leader was actually in danger, well, no, I'm getting ahead of myself. If they thought the Great Leader was petrified, then they wouldn't be listening to commands and stuff like that. Another thing is that they realize, since there's only one of them and it's some sort of science-based thing, they can steal it and they can rework it based on everything they have now. And I found interesting about that is like they go full on. Oh, it's a puzzle. We just need to figure out what the puzzle says, and it works. Like they go full on. Okay, so this means that, that means this, and yada yada yada, and it makes sense when you think about it. And even then, when Chrome is confused, like the audience member would be like, "Wait, whoa! You're just pulling this out of nowhere. This doesn't really make any sense." And they're just like, "Oh yeah, we know." So basically, Ship Guy just explains it. He explains it clearly for the audience and for Chrome, which works out well. And I like little stuff like that, little details where they'll understand like, oh, like the creator will understand. Okay, the audience may not buy this. Let me go through and actually explain it. So he does. The story gets explained, but then the twist happens where the native girl to the island who was trying to kill the great leader has made it back, and she gives them that information that they go to speculate on. But now the greatest warrior of this island kingdom, they've come around. The kingdom of petrification, they've come around and say like, all right, I'm gonna kill all y'all now, except Taiju blocks the first shot, and then Senku's like, okay, there's got to be some piece we're missing here. There's no way that he is just here to kill us because he would have done it already. He's too strong. He's too fast. What's the one thing that doesn't make sense? Since and then Senku realizes, well, since he knew about the entire situation with Ginro, Kohaku, and Native Island Girl being traitors or like invaders and not actually being true to themselves, then there's no way if he was actually loyal to the great leader, if he was actually loyal to if he was loyal to the great leader's assistant either, there's no way he would have just let them go up there and possibly risk the great leader's life, unless he didn't care and wouldn't have minded the great leader dying or would have been willing to kill him himself. So now the chapter ends with an interesting point where now Gen is going to be tasked with convincing this guy to join their side. And that's always interesting because they don't really know much about this guy other than that he likes fights and pretty women. That's like all they even remotely know about him. And I know that Gen is going to, but I'm interested to see how Gen is going to work that into a strategy to fix this situation because they're in a bad state right now. They are not in good standing when it comes to winning a fight against them. Because like all Taiju can do is stall. That's what was established. He's not gonna be able to do much to him in combat because that's not Taiju's thing. It's Kohaku's thing, but now she's petrified. So that they lost their best fighter. So yeah, Doctor Stone next week is gonna be really interesting. I can't wait. I still seriously recommend this manga. Over 100 chapters of quality content, great art. If you're a guy like me who's like too impatient to sit down and watch and wait for anime, seriously, just go read Doctor Stone. It's fantastic on manga screen. Go get it. Um, so that's enough for Doctor Stone. Let's go on to Demon Slayer. So Demon Slayer is a manga I admittedly slept on at first because I saw some of like the bad frames of artwork and I'm just like, oh, I can't read this manga. It's not good enough. And so someone was like, oh, watch the anime. I'm just like, oh, I'm not gonna watch the anime. I don't have time for that. And really, I probably do have time for that. I just am too lazy to watch anime because I don't like to sit down and watch anime. But so I started reading it, and then I picked it up a little bit, and I couldn't put the darn thing down. So now I'm all the way caught up. Chapter 174 just came out. We're in the Infinity Fortress arc. Kitsu, I can't say his name. Head demon guy. He's still on lockdown from Demon Witch Doctor, and right now we're in a fight with the Six-Eyed Swordsman. And to say the very least, I actually really like this because, well, I'll go into depth why I really like Demon Slayer as a whole and why I think it breaks traditional shonen tropes in an interesting way that I actually enjoy while conforming to a lot of shonen tropes that aren't inherently that interesting. But here's what happens in this chapter. So we get, as we do with almost every Demon Slayer villain, we get some sort of a flashback to their past, and the Six-Eyed Swordsman straight up admits if his brother had taken one more breath, he would have died over 400 years ago. I think it's like 400 years ago. And he's lucky that he didn't. But now, through all this time, he's just been living with resentment against his brother and against the fact that humanity could still grow on to be stronger and possibly match demons, even though he made the choice all those years ago to become a demon solely for the purpose of preserving his honed technique since he figured it'd be lost to time, while his brother shared an opposite opinion that, oh no, it's a good thing that we're going to die and move on, because then our technique will be passed down and the next generation will surpass us. They'll go on and they'll use what we built to make a better future. And the hilarious thing about that, or not hilarious, but the ironic thing about that is the person who managed to stab the six-eyed swordsman through is his descendant that he had when he was a human. Muichiro is the six-eyed swordsman descendant that went on and took what he made and is currently fighting against them. So the six-eyed swordsman's brother was right in a weird, twisted sense, and it's really morbid now because he's about to die by his hand. Like both of them are about to kill each other, despite one being a great great ancestor of another. And what happens is the six-eyed swordsman cannot stand for this. He's just like, no, I refuse. I refuse to die like this. I refuse to go out like this. You won't make me. And as the killing blow was about to be dealt by the wind pillar and the rock pillar, while Muichiro is holding them down, the demon bursts with a whole ton of swords right out of his body, and that throws everybody off. It knocks off the course of attack, and like Muichiro's in the whole shock, like, no, we cannot let this happen. We have to defeat this one guy. He's the strongest there is. If we take out him, then everyone else can take care of the rest. Everyone else who can still fight can defeat the rest of the problems that we're gonna have in the fortress. So the blade turns red, and the blade that's lodged in the six-eyed swordsman turns red. And personally, despite having really read up on this series like just recently, I have no idea what that means. I just remember it being notable that Tanjiro had a black blade, so I don't really know if it's on my head what the point of a red blade is because I just don't remember. But it's enough that not only stuns the six-eyed swordsman, but then Genya, who's on the ground, bleeding out and chopped in half, is still alive. And since some of his bullets are still swirling around the six-eyed swordsman system, he activates his blood demon art from absorbing the six-eyed swordsman's blood, and then pins him down again with one last tree. And then what happens is the wind pillar throws down his mace, and then the rock pillar throws down his mace atop the six-eyed swordsman's neck as he's screaming, and then the wind pillar comes in with his katana and pushes the mace all the way down, and bam, the head gets chopped. The head falls off. Well, if not falls off, maybe falls off, because that's another thing that Demon Slayer does. It constantly is just like, oh no, they did it. They beat the bad guy. Oh wait, never mind. It was a trap all along. So I wouldn't be surprised if something happens. But the chapter ends triumphantly because while all of them are on the verge of death, so what it appears to be is that the six-eyed swordsman's down. He's out for the count. Like there's nothing. That's enough said out of him. They defeated Upper Moon 1, and that only leaves the moon that's controlling the fortress, and I think Kitsu, I still can't say his name, the main demon guy himself. I think that's all that leaves because Tanjiro and Giyu defeated the other one. Shinobu, Kano, and Inosuke defeated the other demon moon 2. Zenitsu, I don't know how to pronounce his name. Zenitsu beat the newest moon. And then that leaves, yeah, so I think most of the upper moons are actually dead. But the only thing is, like, all the swordsmen are really, really damaged right now. So I feel like by the time they reach head demon himself, they're gonna be too tired to really fight him. But other than that, once again, while it is a short chapter, I don't have as much to say about it as I do Dr. Stone. still is a really good chapter. I have to say the mangaka's artwork is getting a whole lot better. I really like it. So that's good for that. Demon Slayer is done, and it's really interesting. I also recommend that. So Seven Deadly Sins. I I still have to say I like 70 Sins more than Doctor Stone right now, but Doctor Stone's coming up really quick. So Seven Deadly Sins. This is where it gets interesting because like on my channel I do versus battles. So like Seven Deadly Sins is one of my favorite. I'm trying to get Seven Deadly Sins in the versus battle community. Like I want some bigger YouTubers to like start talking about it because it is a decently strong verse, especially if you like wank it a little bit. It can be like put in the playing field. Mainly, I just want to contest it with Naruto because a lot of people like. Okay, I'm getting sidetracked. Um, so Seven Deadly Sins, the current chapter. The thing that gets me about this chapter is I'm not sure what Diane did. Like that is the only thing that's confusing me. Like, did she separate them from the lake? Did she like create a platform for them to stand on? I literally have zero idea what Diane did. But this chapter was nice and mostly sentimental. It was very much a setup chapter for the final battle that's been getting set up for like ages. And I'm still admittedly intrigued. Do I like it as much as I'm feeling that like the mangaka wants me to? Not really. I'm glad that King and Diana are getting married. That's nice. That's nice. Like rather they because they're obviously gonna defeat the Demon King right now. It's just time stalling. Um, but really, I'm more so interested on the internal battle that's going on with Zeldris right now. I'm interested in what's going to happen next chapter because honestly, this chapter is just okay. The the Demon King's now disconnected from the Magic Lake. The Sins now actually have a chance. All the Sins are here. Elizabeth is somewhere else, and she's safe with Gelda's body, and they're gonna fight all out now, and hopefully not kill Zeldris in the process, so he can break free. So that's really what this chapter was. But what ended with is the one thing I find super interesting is the one. The one has appeared. It is high noon, and the thing about that is I'm not sure. Like the one isn't going to end this fight. As much as I would like that to be the case, the one is not going to end this fight, and I know that because the one never really ends fight. He's like a peak of a fight, and then he goes down. But the main reason I'm interested in seeing the one is literally just a power scaling sort of thing because Escanor got ludicrously buffed, like ludicrously buffed right out of nowhere. I'm not sure if this because like his death throws or something, and he's like he's probably just bringing out every last drop of potential his body has. But like Escanor pre High Noon and post High Noon was like barely like Chandler and Cusack level. Like he was getting annihilated by the original demon, and like King annihilated the original demon. So for the idea that Escanor's gotten so powerful, I'm just interested to see how much more jacked up the one is. Because the one, you got to remember, is technically only 1/4 of the supreme deity's max power. So I'm not sure where this is gonna go really, because this obviously the next chapter is just gonna be the one versus the Demon King. I doubt Meliodas is gonna like the one and Meliodas may go and work together. That may be like the only unique thing I could see because I feel like Meliodas is the only one who's around the one tier right now. Like before Escanor hopped in on this fight and was like relative to both Bon and King, I was just like, okay, I think the one is weaker than King now because of the feat just to feat scaling. But now that pre High Noon Escanor is comparable to both King and Bon, the one must be absolutely insane. So the one plus Meliodas and Demon Mark may just be the next chapter, them holding off the Demon King, and then hopefully then the chapter after that is when we cut back to Zeldris and Gelda working on freeing Zeldris from the Demon King. That would be interesting. I would want to see that just because I'm interested to see is it going to go like last time because the main thing that happened last time is that like Meliodas was just actually a match for the Demon King. It wasn't like Meliodas was just messing up. It wasn't like Meliodas is in Zeldris' case where he's actually weaker than the Demon King, and he, yeah, like Meliodas was stronger than the Demon King. So it's not the case where Zeldris can just fight his way out physically against the Demon King. He's going to have to. I think he's going to have to be creative, and I like Seven Day Sins when it gets creative. When it gets into Punchy Fest, it's still entertaining to watch, but I do prefer creative Taizai. So that's really it for that chapter of Seven Deadly Sins. Do I want to talk about Boku no Hero? Do I? You know what? I'm here. I might as well. So there is no Boku no Hero chapter this week, at least not that I'm aware of. So I'm just gonna talk about the last week's chapter. I'm also caught up on Boku no Hero, by the way. I'm rapidly losing interest in the series. Like I rapidly was losing interest in Taizai until like the Demon King twist, but I'm not sure if it's gonna be a Demon King level twist in Boku no Hero. And the main issue I'm having with the series right now is just I don't know. The villain arc is over, and I'm more interested in the villains than I am the heroes. And now we're cutting back to the heroes, but Hawks is there, so I'm gonna give it a chance. The chapter 242 is just Christmas chapter, New Year's Eve, and then the wait no, I think there was a chapter before that. I'm not. Yeah, there was a chapter before that, and then this chapter is just the first time the three misfits go to Endeavor, and they go off to fight their first villain. Um, Deku apparently does not have full control, and the vestiges of One for All went away. So I don't know. It's probably gonna pull out something. I doubt. I want Endeavor to be good because I'm really liking Endeavor's character. I'm probably gonna make like a whole video on why I actually really like Endeavor's character, and I feel like his development as a person has been really good, and I'm very interested to see where he goes. I don't think he's gonna do much in this fight because the other three are there, and while they're supposed to learn, like the the arc that's coming up in season 4, the overhaul arc was supposed to be a learning experience for Midoriya, but then we had the whole nonsense with that, where Midoriya just pulled out a win because Midoriya has to pull out the win. No other character can win. Um, so yeah, that's really Fiction Fridays. I know I didn't draw much because I mainly use my hand a lot for gestures and stuff like that. But yeah, if I had to give each chapter a rating for this week, I'd give Doctor Stone like an 8 out of 10. It was good. We got some new revivals, we got new plot information, and we have a new possible ally that's coming through. So yeah, an 8 out of 10. That was pretty good. Um, then we have Demon Slayer. Um, I'd have to give this probably like a 6.5 ish, a 6.5. It's not necessarily a 7. The reason I say that is just because while it was an interesting chapter, it wasn't as good as a chapter that we found out about the other Demon Moon's past, where we found out his love life, and that wasn't as good as that. And while I do like the sort of fear that the six-eyed swordsman is showing, he's he is living up to the hype. He is living up to the hype of #1 Demon Moon. I don't know. I just don't find him as interesting a character as I probably will or should. So yeah, 6.5 out of 10. And considering the pattern with Demon Slayer, I don't think he's even dead. So this chapter doesn't really have a sense of finality, and everyone's still alive. So this is literally just an extension of a fight. So yeah, 6.5. Seven Deadly Sins. Yeah, this is like a 6, because like I said, not much really happens in this chapter. It's just them doing the one thing, separating the Demon King from his lake source. King and Diane declaring they're going to get married. And that's all nice and good. And the ones appearing at the end of the chapter. I'm more excited for next week's chapter. That's good. I was really hoping Diane would actually get a decent buff. This wasn't really much of a buff. And for Boku no Hero, yeah, is also going to be a 6. It's an intermediate chapter. That's literally just them arriving to Endeavor and then going to fight a hero. The next chapter looks like it may be interesting because Hawks is at the end of the chapter, and he's also there looking at the villain. So that could be an interesting team up. That like these last two were literally all just potential. This one is yeah, and Demon Slayer and Seven Sins was just a continuation. Doctor Stone is the only one that really had its own like plot stream forward, new character relations possibly being introduced, revivals. It for 17 pages, it was a packed chapter chock full of information, character interaction that I liked. It was funny. Shoot, yeah, I'm gonna raise it up. That was a 9 out of 10 chapter. That was a 9 out of 10 chapter. I can't even be mad at it. So yeah, this is Fiction Fridays. So start expecting these every Friday. I want to give you guys consistent content, and this is fun. This is fun. I like sketching. Like this is a Demon Slayer original character. I don't know what this was. It was just me sketching blind handed, and this was me also just sketching blind handed. I just started working on him a few days ago, and yeah. So Fiction Fridays, expect these every Friday. If you guys have manga you want to recommend to me, or like some weekly source that I can find, and that you just want me to review and or talk about or get my opinion on, go ahead. I'm willing to read. I'm willing to read whatever you guys recommend because typically you guys recommend good stuff. Um, so yeah, probably expect a video on Doctor Stone and why I love it so much. Definitely expect a video on Demon Slayer and why I love it so much. Seven Deadly Sins. This is more like expect power scaling videos about this one because like a lot of the reasons why I love Seven Deadly Sins have already been like expressed by other good YouTubers, and I want you to watch their content as well. And Boku no Hero, expect a Endeavor video. An Endeavor video would definitely be coming out because he is honestly one of my favorite characters from that show. So yeah, this is that guy with a pencil. I can't even see it. Writing off. Oh yeah, please also like, subscribe, comment, please, please, I beg.